The little coincidences that life occasionally throws our way intrigue us all. Like in 2014, when I witnessed Dame Lillard almost exactly replicate shots made by Brandon Roy in 2008.
Left. A three wins the series.
There's
It's
Dwight
Lillard.
for
He
one.
got the
This is
shot.
for the
They were remarkably identical to one another, as you can see. As soon as the same opponents sealed the triumph at the buzzer, it was pretty much the same place on the court. That's adorable. But let's move on to some tiny strangers, so stay with us as we examine some bizarre NBA coincidences for a third time. This is widely recognized as one of the greatest sporting events in history, the final attempt by Michael Jordan as a Bull. This photograph was taken in the waning moments of Game 6 of the 1998 NBA Finals and is probably the best sports image ever. A little boy is holding up 6 fingers behind the shot clock in reference to the 6th championship that Michael Jordan is about to win. This is a truly iconic image, and if you look closely, you'll find a few interesting details. For example, as you can see, the clock clearly shows 6.6 seconds left in the game. Along with everyone else, he predicted that it would go in, but come on, there are other sixes buried in this picture as well. You might be surprised to learn that this was Jordan's 6th finals appearance in the 6th month of the year, and that he is 6 feet, 6 inches tall. Listen to this. Not only was the young man holding up 6 fingers with 6.6 seconds left in the game, just before Jordan won his 6th championship. Why so many sixes, and more importantly, what are the chances that the photographer chose to take the picture at that precise moment? Now, it's true that the clock first reads 8 seconds before changing to 1 second, but correct me if I'm mistaken. There are no more well-known images of this occasion than this one. My argument is that the 6.6 version of the events is the one that went viral and will always be remembered. If you ask me, it seems a little coincidental that the ball was released by Michael at the same time as those numbers and all the other 6s in the image. I am aware that you are sick of hearing stuff like, hey, look at the scoreboard. It says 8-24, or oh look, LeBron hit the 81st point at the 8:24 mark. This one will genuinely frighten you, I assure you. One of Kobe's former teammates, Ryan Kelly, who played a game in Japan for the Sun Rockers on the day of LeBron's untimely death, produced some respectable stats in the game. He then went home to unwind, but like the rest of us, he was completely shocked to learn that Kobe had been involved in a helicopter crash. Ryan was in Japan much later than us. He couldn't believe what had happened. It was Sunday morning for us here in the United States, and was even more astounded when he saw the numbers he had recorded throughout the game he had just played. Lindsay Kelly, the spouse of Ryan Kelly, tweeted this on Monday afternoon. It was Sunday evening here in Tokyo, and what it said was just unbelievable. In 24 minutes and 24 seconds of action, Ryan scored 24 points. It appeared as though he deliberately placed that starting line to commemorate Kobe. No, it turns out, as Kelly participated in that game hours before the tragic incident, but didn't even notice his score until he heard the news. But hold on, things only get stranger. Ryan Kelly was the very last player to ever replace Kobe, and as the two embraced at the conclusion of Kobe's 60-point performance, I experienced goosebumps. Similar to when I learned about the types of games Trae Young and Devin Booker played the day before the accident, this kind of information leaves me speechless. When it was all said and done, Trae Young and Booker combined for 24 makes in their respective games against the Wizards and the Grizzlies. Both players combined for 81 points on 24 shots each. Additionally, Young made 81% of his free throws. Young decided to wear the number 8 in honor of Kobe just for that day, while Booker continued to wear the number 1. Now when you compare them side by side, Kobe is once more honored. Consider the fact that there is no chance the two could have spoken before their games and devise a strategy to raise those numbers. That is not going to happen, not even if they wanted to. Therefore, a strange factor must have been present. Even though the topic of this movie is coincidences, it's safe to argue that the numbers weren't just a coincidence. Sometimes siblings will cross paths without ever realizing it, and this is one of the most amazing coincidences that can occur. What if I told you that 2 NBA players experienced a similar circumstance? The majority of you know that Vince Carter and Tracy McGrady are connected, but perhaps you are unaware of the circumstances surrounding this finding. They didn't discover they were related until 1997, and Vince Carter's junior year at North Carolina's family reunion is what made it possible. While still fully unaware of the family connections, he and Tracy McGrady used to train one another and even share a locker, as McGrady didn't have one. Carter was naturally unconcerned when McGrady casually stated to him one day that you wouldn't be around for a little while because he had to travel to Atlanta for a family reunion. So fast forward to the reunion. McGrady was sitting alone at a table when an older woman came over and struck up a conversation. Somehow, naturally, the conversation turned to basketball, and long story short, it was then that McGrady discovered Vince was his distant cousin. It so happened that the older woman turned out to be Carter's grandmother.
I think this was like a Thursday. Friday, I told him I won't be here. I'm going back home to attend the family reunion. It's like, cool, I'll see you when you get back. My grandmother tells me, she introduced me to a cousin. I was like, okay, cool. She was like, hey, my grandson plays college basketball. I was like, yeah, who does he play for? And she was like, he plays for UNC. I was like, North Tar Heels? And she was like, yeah. I was like, who is he? She was like, Vince. She called him Vincent. She was like, Vincent. I was like, Vince Carter?
When McGrady received that information, he called Carter right away to inform him that they were related, since he couldn't wait to share it with him. They would both ultimately receive the same franchise, as is well known. Tracy McGrady, who entered the league first and was only a year apart, was overjoyed when the Raptors selected Vince the next year. They shared the stage at the 2000 Slam Dunk Contest, as well as playing side by side in the world's top basketball league. It appeared almost as though they were pleased to be family.
Gotta go with my cousin. Vince is the favorite. So he's gonna light the crowd up.
Most of the NBA All-Stars were from two branches of the same family tree, who had been inseparable since the family reunion in July 1997. So those were a few more NBA coincidences that I really wanted to share with you guys. Don't hesitate to let me know some other coincidences that you know of down in the comments. We appreciate it if you'd hit that like button, and of course, don't forget to subscribe.